Alright guys, welcome back to the stream. It seemed like it failed there for a little bit there when we tried to do our reset, but we got it back running now, so welcome back. Got our ATC up and running, we've got our whole sector in front of us here, and we got nothing going on this evening. This is the problem with especially later in the day on this East Coast, is that it does not work for me. It's going to be a very quiet stream if nothing starts happening soon here. I do have 4 inbounds. I'm just checking out the VATSIM window here. I do have 4 inbounds. 2 are airborne out of Montreal, and 2 are on the ground in Toronto coming. So those guys that are at least airborne out of Montreal will get here in about an hour and a bit. I don't know how soon the guys from Toronto are going to get here, so they may be a little while still. They may or may not make it before we shut down for the evening, but we'll try. We'll see what we can do here. Hey Tyler, thanks for posting in the chat there. Sorry, it's a really quiet stream right now. We had a couple of arrivals earlier, and now it is just completely dead. So I'm waiting for this handful of arrivals that's still coming here. We got 2 from Montreal, 2 from Toronto. They're all airborne, so the 2 from Montreal will be here in about an hour, and the ones from Toronto about an hour after that. Until then, not much is going on. So if you want to make a flight through the area, you're more than welcome to. I just stopped talking because nobody was really asking any questions, and I just I think talking to myself a little bit there. So I'm waiting for something to happen in this area. But in another little while, we'll have these airplanes. You can see them actually on the scope now. They are just entering into Boston's airspace now from Montreal, so they'll be with us in our airspace in about 20 minutes here. So fortunately, until then, it's going to be pretty darn quiet. But hopefully, in about 20 minutes, we'll start to actually get some activity here. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is sometimes on the East Coast. If there's not an event going on, it's often very quiet until something actually goes on. And when you are here, like their Moncton Mondays are really extremely well staffed, extremely well received by the pilots, and generally well flown. Like some of them are really quite phenomenally busy. But today is not one of those days. Tomorrow night, this airspace will be really busy. Tonight, not so much. But today, this was the day that I had to get online and do a stream. Unfortunately, it's just not working out that it's a very popular night here. We do have Montreal Centre next to us here. Do we have Boston Centre? Boston Centre is not actually online, so these guys are going to probably either go to Unicom or they're going to try and transfer them directly to us here before too long. I do notice that on our east side we do have Gander online as well. So Gander's online. Unfortunately, not a whole lot of westbound traffic now. The westbound traffic has pretty much all arrived in North America. There are no westbound flights in the North Atlantic airspace whatsoever right now on VATSIM. There's a handful of about four eastbound flights there right now, and there's a couple more that'll be going over to the ocean soon enough. But yeah. We're just going to wait for a couple of Halifax arrivals, and hopefully while we're here, we'll drum up some business outbound as well. That's the best we can do right now. Well, if you want to pass through now, it's open now. No worries, Lucas. Thank you anyways for watching anyways. Yeah, I know, and this is the trouble. Like, my personal schedule generally does not let me get on to it does not let me get on to do streaming until this time, until 01 Zulu. So, yeah, by then, especially on the East Coast, it's pretty much dead. You'll get a few people, a few diehards that will probably hopefully notice that the East Coast is online and log in, and that's what I've got here with this Avgo, the Jazz, and the couple coming from Toronto. But yeah, just not a good time for streaming the East Coast, unfortunately. You won't pick up a lot of traffic that isn't here if they didn't see you logged in, unfortunately. So yeah, it's a bit of a quiet evening, and there's not much I can do about it. This is why last week I did Toronto Centre, because Toronto Centre was quite a bit busier, and I'm going to try to alternate a little bit between relatively quiet sectors and relatively busy sectors, and hopefully sort of give you guys the experience of all the different sectors in Canada at different traffic loads. Because that's one of my goals now on this stream, is to really demonstrate all the different sectors in Canada. Ah, okay. That's what happens when everyone has different nicknames on every different site. You know, you have a hard time sometimes putting people together who's who when they have different names on different sites. Well, I hope you made it back to Toronto yesterday. I certainly enjoyed that flight to Phoenix. That was fun. It wasn't too long, at least, but I am looking forward to doing shorter flights. Finish that last flight up to back up to Vancouver, and then I'm going to look for shorter flights, and maybe I'll change it up a little bit. So I'll stream flying more during the evening and start doing maybe some ATC streaming kind of earlier in the day when hopefully we can pick up a little bit more traffic. Because, yeah, this time of day, it's very hit or miss, and sometimes you'll end up with quite a busy spurt of traffic. Toronto looks like it's fairly steady busy right now. Ditto for Montreal, there's quite a bit of traffic, but yeah, outside of those, there's not a whole lot of traffic around right now. It's already kind of petering out for the night here on VATSIM, unfortunately. So I'm going to try and Tim, it says you are Tim, so I believe you. You're going to make a burner account. We were so close, so close. I think we'll have a little bit more better luck when we do different times. It's early morning Saturday. I think it's almost too early for people to really be, logging in and trying and watching streaming. I don't know. Maybe it's just the time I'm picking, but it's tough to pick time, especially when you've got to do like a 4-hour flight. It's tough to do a 4-hour flight and squeeze it into a day. And not that it's tough to squeeze, but like squeeze it in around, all other kinds of personal obligations you might have during a day. So, it was a little bit easier when the kids were going to school, and I had the whole school day. If I didn't have anything else coming up that day, I could give it the better part of a school day to come to some of these flights. But now, kids being home all the time, I've got to be ready to support them with the online schooling, because I'm the tech support. When something goes wrong, I'm the one that has to fix it. So, and something seems to go wrong at least once a day, I swear. Very frustrating sometimes dealing with the school stuff. So, I mean, it's all for a good cause, obviously, but it makes it, it's made it a lot harder for me to find time to do what I need to do. I have been working on, in the meantime, I have been working on actually my next FS Economy video, which I don't know if it'll be quite as well received as the first one, because that first one really took off. As I was shocked by how good that first FS Economy video I made. Somebody posted it somewhere. I don't know if it was on Reddit somewhere or in the FS Economy forums, but somebody posted somewhere, and it just absolutely blew up, and it became probably my most popular video of last year. Oh, Lucas, thank you. I appreciate that. And that's probably now my phone just chimed to probably tell me that I have a subscriber. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. I'm trying to get myself up to this point where I can actually make a little bit of revenue, and not to make a living, but just to be able to offset the cost of some of these add-ons. And so I have been starting to work on some videos again. I have had a little bit of time now. That may change again. But I have had a little bit of time, so I kind of started working on my next FS Economy video, because it seems to be, like I said, the most popular videos on my channel over the last 3 to 6 months have been those FS Economy videos. So I really, I'm trying to put together another one of those. Just people seem very interested in what's going on there. And I'm also going to have to update a couple of other things. I've also been starting to sort of mentally write a script of things I want to cover to redo my review of FS2 Cruise Pushback Express, because now, of course, they have added the voice control option. That does change the equation. But the other thing that changes the equation with the Pushback Express and FS Economy is the fact that now we have a jet that to me is worthwhile. And the Airbus was kind of worthwhile, but to me the CRJ is finally the first really decent jet that's made me want to fly jets in Microsoft Flight Simulator, and now it's made Pushback Express more useful. I really didn't use it very much on a day-to-day basis because I was mostly flying GA airplanes, no pushback required. But now I find myself using it, so now it suddenly has become a very useful tool. So I'd like to redo my review on that, and then I'm going to start throwing out a few other reviews of some of the other stuff I've purchased for Microsoft Flight Simulator, mainly some airport scenery. So I was going to go and do some comparisons of what the default, I'm not going to go overboard on my review videos, but just do some comparisons of the default airport versus the payware airport. So some of the ones I have that I was going to try and put together some videos of was Vancouver, Chicago, Denver, Portland. I think those were the 4 I had so far, and as I slowly add a few more, I'm going to try and put together at least some kind of review video just to sort of provide people some feedback on and some comparison of how it looks before and after, because I find reviews of airports are often, once you've seen one airport, you've kind of seen a lot of them. There's not a whole lot of difference. I think the best thing really with airports, because there's not a lot of functionality to them, I think to me the best way to review an airport is to compare what it would look like without to what it looks like with, and you decide if it's worth that money, because it's really tools and tools like like Pushback Express are very different, and they need kind of an explanation of what they do and what makes them effective. But to me, an airport, it really is mostly about how it looks. So Other than maybe perhaps also performance is also important, but really 90% of it is about how it looks. So just to do a comparison, I think side-by-side videos of what it looks like before and after you install the payware, and just demonstrate some of those payware videos, I think. All right, looks like Montreal is holding on to these airplanes. It looks like they're probably going to hand them directly to us, which is fine. Nice to see that we actually do have some traffic, though. I'm getting excited now. There are some airplanes. I can see them on my scope. So it'll get, we'll actually get some interest here in a little bit. I did manage to get, oh, that's not right. I wanted to have the approach view in here as well first. So there's the approach view of Halifax with the stars as well, so we can see how we're gonna bring the airplanes in and around into runway 14 is the active in Halifax today because the winds are out of the southeast. Still 169. Oh, and there is the first handoff. All right, airplanes, hooray!
Moncton Center, Avgo 22 with you, flight level 390.
Avgo 22, Moncton Center, good evening, welcome. Alright, so I'm just going to check their flight plans.
Moncton Center, Jazz 7556, flight level 330.
Jazz 7556, Moncton Center, welcome. I keep wanting to say Montreal. I'm so used to saying Montreal. Alright, so it looks like Avgo's a little bit ahead of the Jazz, and that's fine. Let's see, Dreamliner versus an Embraer. No contest. I've got a speed differential here of about 50 knots, so that's gonna work out just fine. This Avgo 22 is overtaking this Jazz, and that's gonna work out just fine. I don't need to probably make any adjustment. He's just gonna keep on overtaking and keep on gaining more distance here. Let's just get an estimate here. Let's see. Pretty much a little bit after Ebony, he's probably going to want to start down. Throw up a little distance tool between them so we can see how much space is actually between them. Right now they got about 3 miles. The only thing that might be tricky is that they may not have enough separation for this guy to start descending in front of him by the time they reach the top descent point. But we'll see how it looks. I'm just gonna watch it because I think it's gonna be enough. He's gonna reach Ebony about 1 minute before Jazz, so it should work out just fine. It'll be good to have a little bit of revenue on my channel, hopefully before I start my next Pilot's Life month, because I have a feeling there's going to be a few payware airports I'm going to want to try and pick up to get these SkyWest airplanes, or whichever one I... whichever company I end up working with anyways. Got almost 5 miles. Yep, that's good. Good. So the minimum spacing en route is going to be 5 miles, so they're going to have the minimum spacing between them momentarily, so we should be good. We do have a medium behind a heavy, so we also meet that requirement as well when they reach 5 miles. So this should work out well. And here come our other two airplanes here. So these are both also inbound to Halifax. Avgo 22 Moncton. The information in Halifax is Alpha. Plan runway 14.
Alpha and 14, and I just listened to the information, and it doesn't specify which runways in use. It only says ILS runway and no number.
Oh, thank you very much for that. I did have to do a reset a little while ago, so apparently that reset itself. So thank you for that. Alright, AVCO 22. It's information Bravo now. The only thing I changed is the runway has been added, so you don't have to worry too much about listening to it. It's runway 14.
ILS 14, right?
And Jazz 7556, the same for you. Information Bravo is current in Halifax. Plan runway 14.
We have Bravo and expecting runway 14, Jazz 7556.
So needs AVCO 22 from that altitude, needs about 120 miles to descend. 120 miles puts him right about there. So pretty much as he crosses that boundary at Ebony, be a good time to start him down if he doesn't request it before that. Hi, neighbor. Thanks very much, Lucas. It was nice to see you, and hopefully we'll see you again soon. If not, we'll definitely see you on Saturday. Yeah, I see you online there, neighbor. Not that I have any airplanes to send to you yet. It's a really quiet across the pond kind of evening. Surprising. Usually get a couple planes flying through, but tonight we got nothing. Nobody seems to be crossing, heading for... heading through our airspace at all. The only one that even comes close is there's a KLM way up here, but he's not even going through my airspace. He's going straight from Montreal over to Gander, so you'll pick him up. I got nobody coming through my airspace heading your way, I don't think. Actually, no, that's not true. It looks like I do. I'm just looking at VATSIM now. It looks like I will have a Speedbird 18 here shortly. This guy down here. And across the southern corner of our airspace. So we will start to get a few airplanes here eventually. Just got a little bit boring there, and I got a little bit bored while I was waiting for stuff to happen. Also a little frustrated too while the streaming software was not working properly there, but it seems to have finally all come together now. Yeah, you like the quiet night shift? Is that why you're working Gander tonight? Because there's only 3 airplanes, I guess, left in your airspace now. Yeah, this is the only trouble with being these night owls, is that most of the pilots on the VATSIM network have gone to bed by the time we actually get logged in. The Europeans especially are big users of VATSIM, so when it becomes the overnight hours in Europe, which right now it's 2 in the morning in Europe, you don't get a lot of those people online, so it does definitely fade out when they go, so it's a bit of a shame. Well, we'll see how it works here. It'd be a great night for anybody who's watching and that wants that first night on their VATSIM network. It's a quiet night out there. That is for sure. So if you're one of those people that is just trying to leap into the VATSIM network, it would be a great night to leap in. Because I've got a whole bunch of controlled airports here with almost no traffic. I've got very little traffic at all distracting me from anything here. So I could definitely provide some really good service. They got 10 miles between each other already. Yeah, I mean, we got St. John's over here. It's nice and quiet over there. We've got, let's see here, other towered airports. We've got Moncton, Fredericton, and Halifax, obviously. And then, I'm just trying to remember, I believe there's a tower in Goose Bay. I'm pretty sure that Gander is an uncontrolled airport. But I do have a bunch of towered airports. Fredericton, Moncton, Halifax. I'd have to check the charts. I am not 100% certain that Goose Bay is controlled. I'm pretty sure it is, though. But I do have, anyways, lots of airports. Lots of airports available for someone who wanted to do some circuits or do just dip their toes in the VATSIM pond. Yeah, no, there is a tower in Goose Bay. That's what I thought. Yep. For a moment, I was drawing a blank on the airport code for Gander. I think I've been there enough times. You'd think I'd remember these things. It is towered. Yeah, no, Gander does have a tower. You know why I don't think Gander has a tower? It's probably because of the hour I always show up there. I always used to do the late night flights into Gander. No, it does have a control tower. Okay. Avgo 22, when ready, descend 1010,000. Halifax altimeter, 3029er.
3029er, when ready, descend 10,000, Avgo 22.
Thank you.
Connected.
Halifax, Moncton Center, Avgo 22, leaving flight level 390 for 10,000.
Avgo 22, thank you. Jazz 7556, Moncton, when ready, descend 1010,000. Halifax altimeter, 3029er.
When ready, descend 10,000 and 3029er, Jazz 7556.
I find that funny now. I wasn't even paying attention to this. Somebody's flying an E-170 under the Jazz banner now. This person is up on their Canadian aviation, that's for sure. Alright, so this should be the Speedbird. I believe this is Speedbird 1.8 here. Alright, so they're both going in their descent. Here comes our next set of Halifaxers here. And they're going to get to Ebony right around 3 Zulu. Pretty much on the dot, that first one anyways. Still no departures though. Ah well. See if the Speedbird will actually call us or if he's fallen asleep in the flight deck already. Oh, Boston Center did come online. They were not online earlier. Well, that'll make things easier because Montreal, I think, was going to log off shortly. So if he can transfer those guys to Boston, they'll get their continuous ATC all the way from Toronto to Halifax.
Center Speedbird 1.8 Heavy at flight level 410 with you.
Speedbird 1.8 Heavy, Moncton Center, good evening. Squawk code 3155.
Squawk 3155, Speedbird 1.8 Heavy.
So that should be this guy here. He's on the flight plan. Yep, there he is. Speedbird 1.8 Heavy, Moncton, thank you. Identified flight level 410, welcome. So I will have one, Travis, to get an oceanic from you sooner or later. Probably about as he enters the Gander sector here. If he hasn't asked, I'll send him to you. Tonight would be a good night if you want to come and do some training, because there is not much going on, unfortunately. So I could use an extra airplane or two, absolutely. If you want to see some other airplanes fly around, Halifax is going to be the popular airport of the evening, apparently, with a couple of arrivals booked in here. Nothing much else has got anything going on. There's one airplane that departed Gander a while ago that headed over to Europe, and that's about it. Otherwise, there is not much going on in this FIR tonight. And still the speeds increasing between them now, or the difference is increasing between them. However, now as I look at the speeds, now the speeds are becoming pretty comparable here. If anything, the Jazz has actually got a few more knots on the Avco because he hasn't started down yet. They're both on the Fundy 4. I wouldn't want to overwork you though, Travis. Maybe I'll just give him the Oceanic just to save you some work. Wouldn't want you to suffer, that's for sure. So now we're starting to see the distance start to decrease between them. Because the Jazz hasn't started down yet, he's got a few knots. He's probably going to start down in the next 10 to 15 miles though. This guy's going to be about an hour before he crosses my space to the point where I should be getting him to call you for clearance. So hopefully you're still there in an hour, Travis, because it's going to be a while before he even enters your airspace, let alone calls you for the clearance. My clock isn't running. Oh no. Why is it not running? It was running. This has not been my night for streaming. There it goes. Thank you, Travis. I had to do a system reset because it was not working properly earlier. It seems to have started working now, but all sorts of things did not work. It's just not been a, a very organized evening for streaming, unfortunately. There he goes. So Jazz has now started down, so he'll start to also lose a little bit of speed as well. So hopefully the distances won't shrink too much more than the 13 miles they're at right now, which is great. Which is a good distance right now. So it's funny, you don't even realize, like, it doesn't look like a particularly big FIR, but it's 500, 700 miles across and top to bottom. If you take the combined Moncton Gander sector here, it's almost 1,000 miles. You don't think of it as being a particularly big area, but it is quite a large area. Bigger than quite a lot of the other FIRs. Well, bigger than Vancouver and Toronto anyways. I think it's the third largest FIR. And I think Montreal, or the third smallest FIR, I should say. Biggest is Edmonton, then it's, I think, Winnipeg, then Montreal, then Moncton. Then Moncton Gander combined anyways. That's the thing, is that Moncton and Gander are always a combined sector, so it's sort of, you know, individually Moncton is quite small, but when you combine it with Gander, and they generally always get partnered together because they're two particularly small sectors without a whole lot of traffic individually, you end up actually covering quite a large space. Did he really drop these guys and not send them to Boston? Maybe he didn't notice Boston was coming on. Avgo 22. What's your speed in the descent?
Rate of descent or speed?
Speed. Indicated speed.
301.
Thank you. Jazz 7556, Moncton speed 300 knots or less in descent.
300 or less, Jazz 7556.
There you go, problem solved. Well, probably not, because still being at the higher altitude by 10,000 feet, he's still going to be going faster. And there we start to get the red caution conflict alert there going on. Avgo 22, Moncton. Which approach are you looking forward to Halifax this evening, ILS or RNAV?
The ILS.
Avgo 22, thank you. Plan the ILS 14.
Planning on the ILS 14.
Jazz 7556, same question for you. Which approach are you planning into Halifax tonight?
Stand by, Jazz 7556.
Should have seen that coming. He probably thought he had a couple more minutes to look at the chart. Hey, David, how's it going this evening? Yeah, the workload is definitely not killing us tonight. That's for sure, Travis. We are definitely not getting overworked, unfortunately.
We're going to do the ILS, Jazz 7556.
Jazz 7556, Roger, plan ILS runway 14.
Plan ILS runway 14, Jazz 7556.
Yeah, not a particularly busy evening, so not particularly overworked. That's why if anybody wants to do circuits or do some practice, anything, it's a good time to do it. We'll have a small, steady contingent of airplanes, but it's not going to be anything that's going to really take a lot of attention, so I can give anybody the attention that they need. I have a feeling most of you guys watching are pretty experienced pilots anyways at this point. Everyone except for Travis, of course. Oh, I lost a viewer just at that point. Travis decided he didn't want to listen to the insults anymore. Just can't take a joke. And Jazz 7556, you're number 2 for the sequence in Halifax. Speed 280 or less. You're still gaining on the traffic ahead.
Roger, 280 or less, Jazz 7556.
Speedbird 18 will be out of the cockpit.
Speedbird 18, that's approved. How long before you're going to be back?
Around 15 minutes.
Speedbird 18, roger. Let me know when you're back.
Roger.
Yeah, he's got plenty of time. There, that did it. Now their speeds are almost the same. Now I can see them on the terminal view here, so Avgo 22, proceed direct TTAR.
Direct TTR, Avgo 22.
Avgo 22, thank you. Descend 4,000. Avgo 22, descend 4,000.
Descend 4,000, Avgo 22.
There we go. That shortcut will buy me a little bit more space there. Now that I can see him on my big screen, I'm going to zoom out there. Is he turning it? There he goes. There you go. He got the turn in there. Good. It'll just help just get just a little bit more space to make sure we have sufficient space in between these guys. Anybody else going to come through our space eventually? I don't see too many eastbound oceanic crossers today. Unfortunately. Guys going to Rimouski. Oh, everybody logged off though. Montreal, Toronto both left at the same time with a whole slew of airplanes between those two airports. Should have flown to Halifax, guys. Jazz 7556, speed 250 or less.
250 or less, Jazz 7556.
He's going to need the 250 sooner or later anyways, so might as well just do it now. And Avgo 22, for now, speed 250 knots, and I'll slow you just when you get close to TTAR there.
250 knots.
Thank you. With Jazz flying this longer route, it should work out just fine at this point. Just check out the other views. Nothing else still happening there. My two Canadians are slowly coming this way. Oh, looks like I just saw him he got picked up by Boston Center there with a little ident, so Boston Center's got him now, still showing 0300 at Ebony. This guy's showing 308 at Ebony. So 20 minutes they'll be handed off to us, 15 to 20 minutes. Unfortunately, in the interim, it's going to be a pretty quiet couple of 10 minutes or so once these two guys land. Jazz 7556, descend 5000.
Descend 5,000, Jazz 7556.
It's probably about how hard the controllers in the real world are working these days, especially the night shift in Halifax. I imagine they're not doing very much. There we go. Now we're starting to get some spacing between them as Jazz starts to round the corner of his slightly longer route. It'll work out just fine. Avgo 22 Moncton, cleared ILS runway 14 CTR transition.
Clear ILS runway 14 CTR transition, Avgo 22.
Avgo 22 clear down to 3000 to intercept the ILS.
3,000 feet, Avgo 22.
Jazz 7556, speed 210 or less.
210 or less, Jazz 7556.
Avgo 22, you can start slowing to 200 knots now.
200 knots, Avgo 22.
Because there's a crossing restriction on the plate that he's supposed to cross TTAR to max 200 knots, and those crossing restrictions are usually in there to make sure that the airplanes are not going so fast that they can't intercept the final approach course. So I really should not be asking him to violate that kind of a speed constraint. But if Jazz slows down as well at the same time, I think it'll work out just fine here. Jazz 7556, descend 4000.
Descend 4,000, Jazz 7556.
Avgo 22 Moncton, speed 180 or faster all the way to Amano.
180 or faster all the way to Amano, Avgo 22.
Jazz 7556, you're going to be about 9 miles in trail of a heavy Dreamliner. Descend 3000 at CTR, cleared Halifax ILS runway 14.
Traffic in sight, descend 3000 and at TTAR cleared ILS runway 14, Jazz 7556.
ILS 14 intercepted for Avgo 22.
Avgo 22, roger. Pretty much by the time these guys are both on the ground, my next planes will probably be getting handed off to me. Got a departure out of Boston coming up to Halifax.
18 heavy, back on the cockpit.
Speedbird 18 heavy, Moncton, thank you. Avgo 22, winds 180 at 7, clear to land, runway 14.
Clear to land 14, Avgo 22.
Speedbird slowly trucking along. Gonna be pretty much 4 Zulu by the time he finally gets out of my airspace there. It doesn't look like very big airspace because there's not a whole lot of airports in it, but it does take a while to get through it. It's hard to tell whenever they have the airplane down or not. The only way you can usually tell they've landed successfully is if they are decelerating. It's not a particularly long runway, so you really got to kind of hammer the brakes in a Dreamliner, that's for sure. Looks like he did it, though. Nicely done. Avgo 22, bienvenue, Moncton. Right turn on Mike if you've got it. Taxi Delta, cross runway 05, back to the apron. And even as we sat here, another airplane spawned in right there and then. How perfect is that?
On way to 114 vacated at Bravo, I'll go 22.
I've go 22, thank you, taxi Delta, cross runway 05 to the apron.
Delta 05 to the apron, I'll go 22.
Jazz 7556, the Halifax winds showing 170 at 6, clear to land, runway 14.
Clear to land, runway 14, Jazz 7556.
So you got a Rouge with no flight plan, but we got somebody, so we're going to get a departure here eventually. Good stuff. Probably didn't need quite as much speed control as I was giving these guys. I may have gone a little overboard on the speed control. How many people are in my airspace right now? Airborne, I have 1. No, 2. Oh, and now I've got another guy who's just spawned up here in Gander by the looks of it. Nice. Actually going to start having some things happen. He's at 500 feet, so he must be on the ground in Gander. But I have 2 airplanes airborne in my airspace, and maybe 3 airplanes on the ground, so it's starting to pick up a little bit. We got a couple of inbounds as well. We got 2 more airplanes inbound in another couple of minutes here. In about 10 minutes or so, we're going to have our next 2 airplanes handed to us by Boston. So we'll wait for this Rouge to file his flight plan and see what he does. Probably overdid it with the speed control. Probably didn't need to be quite as aggressive as I was, but yep, we got another one logged in at Gander. So, okay, hey, looks like we're actually going to get some traffic. Maybe I won't fall asleep on this shift after all. It's not exactly the busiest airspace in the world right now, but on Cross the Pond Day, this place would have been insane. Would have had about 800 to 1,000 airplanes in this airspace all at the same time. And even though they're mostly overflights, it takes time to manage these things. There we go. We got a flight plan from Rouge. Gonna do circuits at flight level 500. We're gonna have a little discussion about this. Jazz 7556, welcome to Halifax. Taxi Mike Delta, cross runway 05 to the apron.
Mike Delta, cross 05 to the apron, Jazz 7556.
Thank you. And just as we finish up with one airplane, here comes the next.
Go to 2 at the gate, engine shut down. Thanks for the service, Rob.
Merci pour voler aujourd'hui. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, right on time. Bye.
Bye.
Monkey Center, good evening. It's Canadian 612 Heavy.
Canadian 612 Heavy, Moncton Center, flight level 370. Good evening.
Hey, good evening. We got information Bravo. We're planning ILS runway 14 into Moncton. For correction, Halifax.
Canadian 612, I copy planning the ILS 14. Thank you.
Roger.
Alright, while I'm here, let's also start pulling up, if I have it available to me, a ground view for let's see here. Do I get a ground view of Gander? No? Pity, you'd think I would because they have a control tower there, but I guess no one has created it, so I guess we're just going to have to make do without. Oh, there we go. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Of course, now it looks like the airplane that wasn't logged on Gander logged out anyways. So never mind. You just can't win for trying, I guess. Canadian 612 Heavy. Actually, disregard. Yeah, I get a little free with the airspace because I forget that sometimes there are adjacent centers online. Boston is online now. They weren't online for a while, but they are now. So we got this Rouge guy. Rouge is going to do some circuits here. Oh, nuclear jet, that's use of circuits. 5,000. Yeah, I was guessing you probably meant 5,000, not 50,000. That's okay. When you call up, we'll fix it. No worries. It's kind of what I was expecting. And the other thing, we'll talk about it when you get on here, but the other thing I just need to know, of course, is it actually an IFR circuits? Are you going to go out and do ILS approaches, or are you just actually looking to just fly circuits, so VFR circuits? So anyways, when you call up, we'll ask and we'll figure it out. No worries, we got time. Got nothing but time tonight. I've sent a lot more stuff to my viewers than I have to airplanes tonight. Which was funny because the other night I just logged in just randomly to Toronto and I should have done a stream. I saw a bunch of airplanes online and I logged in and I just didn't stop talking for about 45 minutes. There was just a whole cluster of planes, no other controllers online. I said, oh look, there's some people that need service. I logged in and I was almost going to stream it, and then I didn't even have time to even think about starting the streaming software. It just was just go, go, go. I should have streamed that. That would have been intriguing. You guys would have enjoyed that. But whatever. Not to worry. We'll eventually get there. Checking out my VATSIM, but I don't think anybody else is still coming through this airspace here. No other transatlantic traffic. Oh, but we do have another airplane off the ground on our way inbound to Halifax. We got another Air Canada 116. We also got a Skycraft. No, who is it? No, a Westwind. No, Swoop. Swoop is coming. Swoop, there it is. Unfortunately, Swoop, I definitely will not be here when you get here. Because you have just left Toronto, so you are 2 hours away from Halifax. I am not going to be here in 2 hours. 1 more hour. We'll stick around for these guys. Here's our Canada 116 right there out of Boston, so he'll be here in about 45 minutes, I would think.
Moncton Center, very good evening. Rouge 957, IFR clearance, please.
And Rouge 957, Moncton Center, good evening. Just to confirm, you want 5,000 for the final altitude today?
Confirm 5,000 would be the final altitude, Rouge 957.
Rouge 557, Roger, I've made that change. And are you just going to be doing circuits for approaches in Halifax, or do you just want to do VFR circuits?
I would expect some vector around 4 different types of approach to Halifax, Rouge 957.
Okay, Rouge 957, that's perfect. You are cleared to back to the Halifax Airport via radar vectors. Depart runway 14 on the Halifax 4 departure and squawk code 3111.
Rouge 957, and I thought cleared back to Halifax, radar vectors, expect runway 14, squawk 3111.
And Rouge 957, confirm the Halifax 4 departure.
Roger, Halifax 4 departure, Rouge 957.
Rouge 957, readback is all correct. Information Bravo is current. Pushback startup at your discretion. Call when ready for taxi.
Roger, Rouge 957, we call for taxi.
Canadian 612 Heavy, when ready, descend 10,000. Halifax altimeter, tree 029er.
Okay, 3029 for Halifax altimeter and down to 10 when ready, Canadian 612.
612, Reg.
Moncton Center, good evening. Canadian 605 Heavy, checking in 370.
Canadian 605 Heavy, Moncton Center, good evening, welcome. And Air Canada 116 also filed at 370. Lobster Alex and the Fundy arrival.
Is there any monkeys in the center tonight?
Not that I've seen, just a cat somewhere around here.
Looking for traffic.
Alright, I guess that Gander guy gave up. Not coming back, unfortunately. What can you do? Thought we were going to get a little bit of variety of traffic in there, but no worries. Just a couple of airplanes hanging out at the main airport, that's the big thing. Not a bad little airspace diagram here, though. It's even got all the runway markings actually painted on there. Gate numbers are actually labeled correctly. Can't see it from when you zoom out far enough, but when you zoom in, you can see them all. TI space. It's actually a pretty good little diagram here. I like it. Looks really good. So if you push back soon, you'll be ready to do circuits and approaches in and around all this other inbound traffic, which is actually going to make it a nice little interesting challenge. I did the checkout in Moncton just like about a month ago, and I came in on a Moncton Monday, and it was crazy busy. I had a very steady stream of arrivals. It was not to the point where it couldn't be handled, but it was a very steady stream of arrivals. I think they were doing a controller exam at the same time as well, so they were doing a controller exam on tower, and so they had already advertised and brought in all this traffic, and I hopped in, and it was quite busy. I was quite impressed with how busy it was, but I've always been very impressed. Moncton Monday has just been a continuous thing that's happened on VATSIM for I don't know, 10 years probably. I swear it's just been a never non-stop process, and it comes and it goes, and some evenings, some weeks are busier than others, but you can always depend on at least a few controllers to show up every single Monday night. So it's always worth pilots to file a flight plan and get ready to fly to somewhere in Moncton FIR on Mondays, because there will always be service. I feel like it's almost too many lines. I wonder if I can get rid of a few of them here. That looks a little better. Just the approach. I don't need to see the stars. They're flying the stars. I just need to see the approach. It gives you a good sense of reference of where everybody's going to be. Excellent. Now it's going to get interesting in a couple minutes here. And that's the way we like it. We like it interesting. It's nice of Boston Center to come online because they weren't online for a while there, and then they came online just at the right time to sort of pick up some traffic and hand us some traffic. And I really like it on VATSIM when we can offer pilots just like complete end-to-end controlled ATC service. Even if we kind of overstep our boundaries a little bit, I think it's worth it for the final effect for the pilots when they never get switched to Unicom on a flight. And wasn't the case for these Canadian guys. They were kind of in Montreal's airspace when Montreal shut down, so they were off for a little bit. But the guys that came in before, the Avco and the Jazz, complete end-to-end service from liftoff in Montreal all the way down to landing, reaching the gate in Halifax, end-to-end ATC, and that's part of what I like to see it provided as often as possible. And that's why I tend to bounce around a little bit from one FIR to the next, because I tend to pick wherever there's no controllers online is where I try to go to try and fill in the gaps and provide that end-to-end ATC as much as possible. Canadian 605 Heavy, when ready, descend 10, 10,000. The altimeter in Halifax, 3029er.
3029er and one ready down 10,000. 10,000 for Canadian 605 Heavy.
Rich.
Yes, I what should I say?
You got it eventually. I don't know if you can see him yet, but he's just hiding behind my various lists here in the top corner.
Center Rouge 957 with information Bravo ready for taxi.
Rouge 957, runway 14, altimeter Halifax 3029er. Taxi through the apron at your discretion. Hotel, hold short 14 and advise ready for takeoff.
Altimeter 3029, taxi via apron, hotel, hold short around 14, call you 4, when ready for taxi, Rouge 957.
Roger. Alright, so this guy's going to enter our airspace in about 20 minutes, so probably about 10 minutes I expect we're going to get that handoff from Boston. They like to seem to do it pretty early, which is fine by me. I'm kind of a believer in that. Hand them off early if you don't have anything else to do with them. Get them off your frequency and then you can deal with the next guy. Not that I have a lot of people on my frequency right now, but that's the general mentality you want to take, is you want to get rid of airplanes as soon as you can so that you free up your frequency, your airspace, your mental workload for the next guy. You go Canadian 605, start it down.
Rouge 957, Hotel Short runway 14, ready for takeoff.
Rouge 957 Halifax, backtrack is approved. Contact me airborne. The wind's 180 at 6, cleared for takeoff, runway 14.
Backtrack approved, clear for takeoff, runway 14 for you, wind airborne, Rouge 957.
I noticed on the ground view there in Halifax, we got a new one logged in here now. GCWZ. No flight plan filed yet, but we'll see what happens. We got this guy inbound. He's going to land about 15 minutes here. Give or take, 14 minutes. Next guy's about 5 minutes behind him. And then we got this Air Canada. It's about 20 minutes behind these guys. $50 miles apart. I don't think any speed that the Canadian 605 can go at will make him catch the guy ahead of him. There goes Rouge. Give her. Are you too nearby? Canadian 612 Heavy, continue descent 6,000.
6,000, Canadian 612.
Rouge 957, airborne passing 2045.
Rouge 97 Halifax, identified. When able, say your intention, your requested approach.
Rouge 957, request vector background for ILS runway 14.
Rouge 957, okay, ILS 14, turn left heading 050.
Left heading 050, Rouge 957.
Now this is going to get interesting. See how quickly I can fly this guy around the approach here. So we'll try to get you in ahead of this Canadian 612. I think as long as the turns are quick, I think that's going to work just fine. Oh yeah. Rouge 957, turn left heading 320.
7 heading 320, Rouge 957.
And Rouge 957, did you want a vector to final, or do you want to do it the approach transition from the IGVOP intersection?
I think we'll just take the vector back to the final course, Rouge 957.
Rouge 957, roger. Still no flight plan from that guy. Air Canada 116 is coming slowly. Alright, we'll make it easy. The vectors. think the other Canadian's catching the first one here, no matter what he does.
Speedbird 18 Heavy will be out of the cockpit for 40 minutes.
Speedbird 18 Heavy. Before you go, do you want to switch over to Gander Oceanic and pick up your Oceanic clearance?
Roger, I would like to switch to Gander Radio.
Alright, Speedbird 18, call Gander Radio now 131.7, and then you can give me a call back when you're back on frequency, then you can step away.
Roger, switching 131.7 Gander Radio, Speedbird 18 Heavy.
Roger. Rouge 957, descend 3000.
Descend 3000, Rouge 957.
Gonna get that Air Canada 116 any minute now. Oh, and Speedbird vanished. There he is. Now it's getting a little bit interesting. Canadian 612 Heavy, descend 4000.
4000, Canadian 612.
Rouge 957, turn left heading 230.
Turn left heading 230, Rouge 957.
Still no flight from the Charlie Whiskey Zulu yet. Canadian 612, speed 210 knots or less.
Okay, slowing 210 or less, Canadian 612.
Rouge 957, turn left heading 170 for intercept, cleared ILS, runway 14.
Okay, left heading 170 for intercept, clear ILS, runway 14, Rouge 957.
Attention all aircraft information. Charlie is now current in Halifax. The wind's showing 1607, altimeter 3029er, cab OK. Canadian 612 Heavy, descend 3000 at TTR, cleared Halifax, ILS, runway 14.
Okay, down to 3000 and after TTR cleared ILS, runway 14 Halifax, Canadian 612.
612, Raj. And Rouge 9057, what are your intentions on this approach? Will you be doing a full stop landing or missed approach?
This will be touch and go, Rouge 957.
Rouge 9057, roger. The wind's 170 at 7. Clear touch and go, runway 14.
Clear touch and go, runway 14, Rouge 957.
And Rouge 957 on the go. Maintain runway heading 5,000 feet.
On the go, runway heading 5,000 feet, Rouge 957.
Canadian 605, heavy, descend 6,000.
Descend 6,000, Canadian 605.
Well, Travis, how's this guy doing with his clearance now? Ah, there it is.
Moncton Center gauge computer, Canada 116, 50370, 40 miles to the east of, approaching to the west of Alex.
Air Canada 116, Moncton Center, flight level 370, good evening. There we go, this brought a little bit of interest anyways to our lives now, having somebody go and do circuits and a couple of approaches. Definitely made it a little bit more challenging. Air Canada 116, information in Halifax is Charlie. You can plan runway 14.
Roger, we have Charlie on board for the last runway 14, Canada 116.
Air Canada 116, I copy, you're looking for the ILS 14.
Air 116, roger.
Speedbird 18 is taking a long time. Did he manage to get the oceanic clearance? Did he just step away anyways? There's the Swoop 198 inbound to Halifax. Not going to be here until, oh, good 20 past, half past 4 Zulu. So, unfortunately, probably not going to stick around for that. There he goes on the touch and go. This Charlie Whiskey Zulu still no flight plan. Is he going to do anything? Canadian 612 heavy. The 321 ahead is on the touch and go. Winds are 170 at 7. Clear to land. Runway 14.
Check the traffic. Clear to land 14. Canadian 612 heavy.
Rouge 9057 Moncton. When you're able, let me know your intentions now. Give him a second to get everything reconfigured again.
Rouge 957, we'll back run for on Zulu runway 14.
Rouge 957, I copy the RNAV Zulu, runway 14. Turn left, heading 050 vectors for the approach.
Left heading 050, Rouge 957.
Canadian 605 Heavy, descend 4,000.
Descend 4,000, Canadian 605.
I think this time, Rouge, you're not going to slip in front of the Canadian. I think that's going to... He's just turned direct to CTR now. Yeah, I don't think it's going to quite work out for you to be ahead this time. Canadian 605 Heavy, descend 3,000 at TTAR, cleared Halifax, cleared Halifax ILS, runway 14. I got the RNAV in the brain now.
Descend 3,000, and by TTAR clear the ILS 14 Halifax, Canadian 605.
Rouge 957 Moncton. I assume you want the transition via IGVOP this time for the RNAV?
IGVOP run transition via IGVOP, Rouge 957.
Rouge 957, roger. I'll have IGVOP for you in about 1 minute here.
Rouge 957.
Just trying to time his turn so that he'll slot in nicely behind the other guy here. Oh, we got a flight plan from the... Oh, no! We lost our Canadian. Hit the ground and disconnected. Never a good sign. Oh, he's back. Oh, he's back. Just a radar glitch, I guess. Going pretty fast still. No, he's not doing it. Hopefully he's in the go-around. Local flight direct Halifax Harbor and return. Okay, cool. We got a helicopter. Nice. Rouge 957, turn left direct IGVOP.
Left hand direct IGVOP, Rouge 957.
Canadian 612, I see you're in the missed approach. Continue runway heading and climb 4,000.
4,000, runway heading, Canadian 612.
Canadian 612, do you want another vector back around for 14? I can also offer you 2-3 if you'd prefer. The winds are kind of splitting the difference now.
Yeah, we'll go back 14, Canadian 612. Just stand by, Wilson Marine 1, runway heading for this time.
Canadian 612. It's actually getting interesting here. Air Canada 116, Moncton, when ready, descend 10,000. The Halifax altimeter, 3029er.
3029er, when ready down to 0,000, 116.
I'm going to assume the Speedbird 18 got his clearance and came back, but he didn't check back in on the frequency. Canadian 612 Heavy, turn left heading 050.
Left 050, Canadian 612.
Rouge 957, descend 4,000.
Descend 4,000, Rouge 957.
Good times. Alright, so we're going to need to get this guy a squawk code while we got a moment here. Divot. I see your remark there. welcome to VATSIM. Welcome to VATSIM. Call me up whenever you're ready, and we'll take it nicely and easy on you. I think you know. I don't think he's ever done one before. Oh, he's still trying to figure out how to get the clown. Sorry. Yeah, it didn't strike me as he was quite totally aware of what was going on. Canadian 612 Heavy, turn left heading 320 vectors for the ILS, runway 14.
320 vectors for the ILS, Canadian 612.
Rouge 9057, descend 3000, cleared Arnav Zulu runway 14, Halifax, IGVOP transition.
Descend 3000, cleared Arnav Zulu runway 14 via IGVOP transition, Rouge 957.
There we go. Got a nice little circle of airplanes here doing IFR circuits here in Halifax. I like it. I thought it was going to be boring, and it was kind of for the first hour, but it's kind of picked up now to be quite interesting, quite amusing.
Moncton, Canadian 612.
Canadian 612, go ahead.
Okay, or Moncton, Canadian 612. If it works for you, we can go direct IGVOP for the ILS 14.
Canadian 612, sure, that's easy for me. Proceed direct IGVOP. You can plan the ILS 14 via IGVOP.
Okay, proceed direct IGVOP, checkpoint marks, Canadian 612.
And Canadian 612 for spacing, speed 210 knots or less.
210 or less, Canadian 612.
Just seeing my Air Canada 116 scroll into view there on the left side. It's so much easier when you can have everybody on one screen. Flipping from screen to screen to screen can be very awkward. Canadian 605 Heavy, the Halifax winds 180 at 9er, clear to land, runway 14.
Clear land 14, Canadian 605.
So much easier when everybody's on the same screen. So much easier. Also do is I can do this.
Halifax helicopter Airbus 135 Golf Charlie Whiskey Zulu with Charlie.
Golf Charlie Whiskey Zulu Halifax. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. We'd like a local south departure to Halifax Harbor.
And Golf Charlie Whiskey Zulu, did you want to depart runway 14 or do you want to just depart from the present position on the apron?
We can depart from the apron here. We're at helicopter pad 2.
Stand by. Canadian 612, descend 3000 via IGVOP cleared ILS runway 14.
Turn to 3 and via IGVOP cleared ILS runway 14. Canadian 612.
Canadian 612, thank you. And speed 190 or less, please.
190 or less, Canadian 612.
Golf Charlie Whiskey Zulu Moncton. The southbound departure is approved. The altimeter here in Halifax is 3029er. Squawk code for you this evening 1243.
1243 for Golf Charlie Whiskey Zulu.
Golf Charlie Whiskey Zulu, that is correct. When you're ready, lift off your discretion from the helipad there with a southbound departure. The winds in Halifax are showing 180 at 9er.
Okay, clear for takeoff, our discretion, and south departure approved. Golf Charlie Whiskey Zulu.
Rouge 9057, another touch and go on this one for you?
Affirm, another touch and go, Rouge 957.
Rouge 957, your number 1 traffic's on the rollout. Cleared the touch and go runway 14 on the go. Maintain runway heading in 5,000.
For touch and go, runway 14 on the go. Runway heading and 5,000 feet. Rouge 957.
Roger. Canadian 605, welcome to Halifax. Roll it down to Mike. Right turn on Mike Delta and cross runway 05 to the apron.
Mike Delta, cross runway 05 to the apron, Canadian 605. Have a good night, sir.
Thank you. Good night. Probably could have given the backtrack, but I don't know how long it's going to take to get that 767 turnaround. Alright. Looks like it's pacing pretty good here on final. Rouge is slowing up a little bit, so I might need to restrict the Canadian 612 speed just a little bit more here, but we'll see as he makes this turn here how it's looking. There we go. Okay, Canadian 605 is clear. Perfect. Oh no, Whiskey Charlie Zulu, we lost you. Oh no, there you are. There you are. Oh, you just got below my radar coverage. No, Spacey's looking really good. Yeah, it's perfect. It's good. All right. I actually had some traffic here this evening. I thought it was going to be pretty quiet evening, but it turned out to be a nice little busy evening. So thank you very much, especially Nuclear Jet for being for doing some circuits here, because that really kind of has made it a little bit interesting, to say the least. Charlie Whiskey Zulu, say passing altitude.
Whiskey Zulu is passing 1,300.
Whiskey Charlie Zulu, thank you. Charlie Whiskey Zulu, thank you. You're identified at 1,300. And the Halifax tour is approved. Let me know when you're turning back inbound towards the airport.
Okay, we'll let you know when we're returning, Charlie Whiskey Zulu.
Canadian 612 traffic ahead, 321 on the touch and go is just over the numbers now. Winds 180 at 9 cleared, touch and go, runway 14.
Check the traffic clear for take, or correction, clear to land, runway 14, Canadian 612.
Did I tell him clear touch and go? I may have said that. Oh, I may have said that without even realizing it. That's hilarious. It's amazing the things you say without even realizing it sometimes. I've got so many controller habits and phrases so permanently etched into my brain that sometimes I say things without even realizing I've said them. Rouge 957, Moncton, when able, just say your type of approach requested. Canadian 605 motor to the gate, though.
Rouge 957, we'll vector back for another on for Zulu. Rouge 957.
Rouge 957, roger, turn left, heading 360.
Left heading 360, Rouge 957.
Let's get him a little bit more of a faster, more efficient vector, because I got to get him ahead of the Air Canada 116 now. Always something. It's not always something, but this evening it's turning out to always be something. tell you though, it's got me very interested though. I thought this last hour was going to be pretty boring, and you guys have managed to fill it with quite a little bit of interest and entertainment, and I appreciate that. Two should be over the numbers in a second. There he is. There he is, coming into sight. Rouge 957, continue left turn 320.
Continue left turn 320, Rouge 957.
Canadian 612, welcome to Halifax. You can take the right turn on Mike if you've got it. If not, just a right turn at Delta and taxi Delta across runway 05 to the apron.
Delta 05 to the op, or to wherever the plane's parked, yep. Canadian 612 heavy.
Just call it the ramp.
Ramp, the tarmac?
Good times. Air Canada 116, continue descent 6,000.
Continue 6,000, Air Canada 116.
Rouge 957, when able, proceed direct IGVOP.
Unable direct IGVOP, Rouge 957.
Wherever the planes park, it's fine. I love it. Well, this turned out to be more interactive than I thought it was going to be anyway, so thank you guys, I appreciate that. Good to get some practice with hand flying and FS2 crew. Oh, and you're using FS2 crew to hand fly too. Ah, yeah. FS2 crew it's great software, but when you do things a little bit off script, it has a hard time with it. But you know, it's true of the airlines as well. When things are non-standard, you really you often end up kind of looking at the other guy going, does this seem right to you? It doesn't seem wrong. Case in point, I did a flight a couple months ago. What was it called? Basically, it was a short-term storage reset flight. So if an airplane is in storage for more than, I think, 90 days, then it's considered long-term storage, and then there's a whole bunch of maintenance items that go into it. So it's cheaper and easier for the airlines to actually fly the airplane once every 90 days, even in this era, to keep them on a sort of a short-term storage active status. So I did one of these flights, and it was, it's just go up in the air and fly around for an hour and come back. So it was very non-standard. It created a lot of kind of interesting things, like your SOPs are sort of set up for the typical airline flight. When you do something that's not typical, things really get weird. For example, we left directly from a maintenance hangar when we always leave from a gate. So sort of a few things a little bit weird there. Place we're not used to being. Rouge 957, descend 3,000 via IGVOP, cleared RNAV Zulu, runway 14.
Descend 3,000 via IGVOP, cleared RNAV Zulu, runway 14, Rouge 957.
So some very just unusual stuff happened that day, and so it really it just sort of threw us a little bit out of our normal process. So it was anytime things throw you out of the normal process, it's very weird. And so with the FS2 crew, absolutely, when you throw it out of the normal process, the trouble with FS2 crew as a piece of software is that it doesn't have the adaptability that humans have to sort of adapt to a changing situation. So it really kind of has a bit of an issue with that. And I'm not trying to diss FS2 crew because I absolutely love it. I think it's absolutely great software. But when things are just off script, when they're not right, it doesn't have the adaptability that a human does. It really works well with strict SOPs when things are happening exactly the way they normally should, but it doesn't always handle those abnormal situations well. And this is again one of those reasons why I think that you know, computer-driven airplanes are not going to really happen for a very long time, because there's just so many variables in aviation in general. It's very hard for it's very hard to kind of write for every possible scenario. So there's something about the adaptability of human beings. They can take a procedure, they can look at it, and they can say, yeah, this more or less fits to what we're doing right now if we change this and this. And they're very adaptable, and also being able to communicate to different people. They can usually kind of establish a very, kind of a mutually useful procedure. But computers it's black or white to computers most of the time. They have a hard time. Computer programs have a hard time adapting to unusual situations. That's why I think that and even just watching the way some of these FMSs fly the airplanes right now, the computers that are in the airplanes right now they're sort of good enough to sort of fly the airplane, but without someone kind of watching them the whole time to make sure they don't screw up and taking over when they do screw up. They've proven time and time again that they're not reliable enough to operate the airplane without help. Air Canada 116, descend at 3000 at TTR, cleared Halifax ILS, runway 14. I keep wanting to say RNAV now.
3000, clear for the ILS runway 14, approach via TTR, Air Canada 116.
I notice he's going a lot faster here, but it should be okay. Hey, Rouge 957, say intentions.
Rouge 957, this will be the last touch and go. We'll back for S14 and 4 stop.
Rouge 957, that's understood. And let's see, the winds here in Halifax are showing winds 180 at Niner. Rouge 957, cleared the touch and go, runway 14 on the go, maintain runway heading 4000.
Clear for touch and go, runway 14 on the go, runway heading and 5000 Rouge 957.
Yeah, close enough. It doesn't make too much of a difference. Yeah, the two Canadian buddies are parked next to each other. We got our Air Canada 116 inbound here. Gonna sequence in here nicely behind. Divot, you're still circling around Halifax Harbor. See if you can see the what's his name, Theodore Tugboat down there. Although I heard Theodore Tugboat was sold, and I think he's coming to Hamilton, I believe. Read that for a while ago. An icon on the West Coast, but I guess without any kind of tourism dollars to keep it going, there was no point in having that boat, moored at the harbor. Nobody can afford to keep it if it's not making money. All right, so we're gonna get Rouge 957 around for one last ILS here, and then that'll be it. We'll probably call it a day, and hopefully, Divot, you'll be inbound as well by that time, and we'll get you down on the ground as well. So about 10 to 12 minutes we'll be shutting down here. Which is not bad because it's 1 a.m. on the East Coast, or it will be in 10 minutes. They're definitely not my most popular stream, but maybe next time I'll do something a little busier. I might do Montreal or Toronto because those are two very commonly busy airports in Canada. We'll have to work out what's best for next week, and I think next week there's an event, actually. What day is this? Or is it the week after? No, I think it's the week after there's an event. I think the week after that there's an event on the Saturday night, so I probably try to actually do the AT stream on the Saturday night on the 29th, because that'll be there'll be an event happening that hopefully we can get in on that and get in when there's a whole bunch of traffic moving around the network. Have a really interesting time. Next week.
Halifax Tower, helicopter Golf, Charlie Whiskey Zulu, over Halifax, 1,500 inbound planning.
Golf Charlie Whiskey Zulu, Halifax. The wind's still showing 170 at 7 and the altimeter 3029er. Do you want to go land on the pad again?
I'd like to try a downwind left for 14 if that's available.
Charlie Whiskey Zulu, how about right downwind 14?
Right downwind for 14, roger. Golf Charlie Whiskey Zulu.
Charlie Whiskey Zulu, thank you. And just once you get to the downwind, extend your downwind. I'll call the base. I've got traffic inbound for 14.
Okay, I'll extend my downwind. You'll call my base. Charlie Whiskey Zulu.
If you're looking at it there, you can see, I think it's going to work out fine. With the pace you're moving as a helicopter, you'll probably be fine, but I'm just playing it safe right now until I figure out exactly how everybody's going to sequence here. Rouge 957, when you're able, turn left heading at tree 60 vectors for an ILS runway 14.
Left heading 360 and we got 4,000 Rouge 957.
Rouge 957, perfect, thanks. Isn't it great to have a backup system when you're through the stream? You're listening in two different dimensions at the same time. Air Canada 116, Halifax winds 180 at 9er, clear to land, runway 14.
Okay, winds clear to land, runway 14, Canada 116.
And Rouge 957, did you want vectors to this ILS or did you want to do the IGVOP transition?
We can do the exop transition Rouge 957.
Rouge 957, as soon as you got it, proceed direct IGVOP.
Direct exop Rouge 957.
Makes it easy for me. And Whiskey Charlie Zulu, traffic going to be following, so 737 on about a 4-mile final to runway 14. Let me know when you have traffic in sight.
Okay, roger, looking for traffic. Charlie Whiskey Zulu.
Do I keep on calling him Whiskey Charlie Zulu? I think I do. I don't know why. I keep getting it backwards in my head. Don't know why. Looks like he's got IGVOP dialed in there. Nice. Air Canada 116 is on short final. Looks like Gander Oceanic's got the same idea as me. I see he's on the break he's going on break as well. I assume probably at the top of the hour he'll be checking out as well. Oh, and there is one inbound now to JFK that's going to cross through Moncton airspace soon. But, well, we've been on for long enough, I think, today. We've been online for a good, almost 3 hours now. I think we've given VATSIM the fill of our time today. Rouge 957, descend 3000, cleared RNAV, cleared ILS, runway 14, IGVOP transition.
Descend 3000, cleared ILS, runway 14, IGVOP transition, Rouge 957.
Air Canada 116, so welcome to Halifax. Right turn on Mike, taxi Mike Delta, cross runway 05 to the apron.
Roger, taxi right on Mike, Delta, cross runway 05 to the apron for Canada 16, have a good night.
Whiskey Charlie Zulu, your number 1, caution possible wake turbulence behind the 737, landed ahead. Winds 170 at 7, clear to land, runway 14.
Clear to land, runway 14, Charlie Whiskey Zulu.
Well, I hope it was a scenic tour of Halifax Harbour. It certainly seemed like it was it's a very nice night out there anyways for just doing a scenic tour. I assume you're probably flying in P3D or something, or X-Plane, because there's not too many helicopters available yet in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Here he comes. Swinging around past the terminal. Oh, looks like the Air Canada logged out before he got to the gate. Well, that makes it easy then. I don't have to worry about his runway crossing. Looks really nice. Got it lined up perfectly down that runway. This guy knows how to fly a helicopter. Not like me. When I try to fly a helicopter, it's all over the place. I gave up trying to fly helicopters in P3D because I just cannot do it. Whiskey Charlie Zulu, welcome to Halifax. Did you want to park at the apron or down to the helipad?
I'd like to go down to the helipad there for Whiskey Zulu.
Charlie Whiskey Zulu, hover taxi, apron your discretion, Alpha and Juliet to the helipad.
Alpha Juliet to the helipad, Golf Charlie Whiskey Zulu.
Rouge 957, Halifax winds 170 at 7. You're clear to land, runway 14.
Clear to land, runway 14, Rouge 957.
There we go. So not too bad. It's a quiet evening overall, but it won't accept the go-around command? Yeah. What happens if you trigger the go-around command then before you touch down? So even you just call the go-around, even though you're going to plan to do the touchdown, you call go-around, and maybe it'll transition to the climb mode that way at least. I imagine touch and goes in a 320 were not something that that FS2 crew had planned on someone doing too much. You can always suggest it, though. I will say this: the FS2 crew is very responsive to customer suggestions through their website. I've submitted tickets for a number of things, and even when they decided not to go with an idea, they definitely always seem to respond, at least. So if you have an idea, definitely take it to FS2 crew. If you have suggestions, things you'd like to see, it may not happen right away. I have a feeling they're very busy right now trying to get the FS2 crew for the CRJ out and running, but definitely worth asking them, because I think they because they what am I trying to say here? They're definitely responsive to their customers. They're definitely, so if you suggest something, they'll at least respond and say whether it's a doable idea or not. So making a way for them to do touch and goes might be something they say is just not commonly done enough that it's worth their time, but never hurts to ask. Definitely never hurts to ask. Too much excitement for you. 3 airplanes AWOL. Travis, maybe you are the cursed one. Well, if it does retract the flaps, at least, then that's one of the most important things. Getting the flaps retracted for the go.
Charlie Whiskey Zulu is landed at helipad 2. Thanks for your service tonight.
Charlie Whiskey Zulu, no problem. I'm glad you came out, and hopefully we'll catch you next time. Have yourself a good rest of the night.
You too, thanks.
Rouge 9057, welcome to Halifax. Turn right on Mike, taxi Mike Delta, cross runway 05 to the apron.
Right on Mike, taxi Mike Delta, cross runway 1, correction, cross runway 23 to apron, Rouge 957.
Rouge 957, that's all correct. I'm going to go ahead and log off now, so you can switch to Unicom 122.8 for the taxi in. No other traffic on the ground now in Halifax. Have yourself a good night, and thank you so much for the circuits.
Roger, switch to Unicom, thank you so much for the help tonight, Rouge 957.
Good night. And that's it. I am going to be logging off, so I am out of here, guys. Thank you so much for watching tonight on the channel. It wasn't quite as exciting as some of the places, but it's definitely different, and that's kind of fun. And thanks to Nuclear Jet for providing some traffic there. That was very helpful, and everybody else as well. Divot, thank you very much for the traffic, and yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope I'll see you next week. We'll have a stream on Saturday morning for our trip from Phoenix up to Vancouver, and then sometime next weekend I'll have an ATC stream as well. We'll try and pick something a little busier to create a little more excitement. I don't know which one it's going to be, but we'll pick something. So in the meantime, guys,